Welcome to Casual Swinger. If you're under 18, the following podcast is not appropriate for you. The subjects and language are for mature audiences only. If you're not mature in nature, just make sure you're old enough to vote. We don't take ourselves seriously, ever. No guarantee is given regarding the accuracy of any opinions or statements made on this podcast, our website, or our blog. It's all in fun, folks. This isn't Dr. Phil. Now, consider yourself, the listener, properly advised. Welcome back to Casual Swinger. I'm Mallory.
And I'm Mickey.
And we have the third installment of History of Hedonism II.
A living history of hedonism, too.
I know.
Right? Everybody here's alive. Nobody's dead. We're not talking about any dead people, just happy living people.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But speaking of living, we're kind of lucky you are after the Hedo cred you brought back, right?
I don't even know if I can blame it on the Hedo cred. I did a lot 11 when we were down in Jamaica. And I mean, Thursday night, it just hit me like a brick wall. And thank God we had a doctor on the trip.
Is there a doctor in the house?
Seriously, it was scary.
Yeah, she was really sick, guys, and so she ended up sitting out a pool party that we emceed, which that was hard for you. Yeah,
you wanted me to go back to the room and rest, but there was no way. Yeah. I did jump up and help with like the champagne.
Oh, that's right. You did spray champagne all over the crowd with your giant champagne penis.
Yes.
So, yeah, but we're not going to get into that too much. We're going to talk about our recap later, but this is all about the swinger-in-chief. The swinger-in-chief is, of course, Harry Lange. He's the president and CEO of Hedonism Resorts. So we've got a conversation with him coming up here in a little bit for you guys that I think is really going to knock your socks off. This was a fantastic interview and so much fun to do.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate. I mean, obviously, we love Howard, his conversations, and you know, the interview we did with him was fantastic. And then we got the opportunity to talk to John. We just missed him. He'd left the day we got in. And then to recap this off with Harry is just amazing.
Yeah, we chased his ass all over the resort.
We did. And he was chasing ass all over the resort.
That's right. Well, he was chasing ass. We were chasing his ass. But, you know, we finally caught up with him. Obviously, he's in Miami today. So we caught up with him after the fact. But yeah, in a lot of ways, I think it's still a fantastic interview for everybody. We did have a couple little cellular snafus, so we had to correct a couple things and say, hey, by the way, you know, this is what he meant, because you guys can't hear him.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but I think the conversation is definitely worth a listen.
Yeah, and I mean, we got the CEO of Hedo on our show, which is just so badass.
It is, and I love like the personal information. Like he was completely transparent, had no hesitation. We talked about the lifestyle. We talked about how he found Hedo. First time he went, it was good stuff. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too. I think it was super fun. And, you know, it even kind of came up when we were talking before the show. You know, we wore a lot of casual swinger swag this week.
We did. We were testing out some of our merchandise. And, you know, obviously we want to make our brand known. And it went over really well.
Everybody knew where we were because we hung a casual swinger flag in the window. And we had perfect positioning.
We did, but one of my favorite things was, is that like a come one, come all statement?
Come often.
Yeah, right.
Right. And it was, so that was hanging in the window, but we had our t-shirts in full display. We had beach towels, we had stickers, we had so much casual swinger crap that people thought we were a travel group. And we're like, no, we host for the Rascals. Seriously.
Yeah.
So I think we overdid it a little bit this trip. We need to wear all Rascal stuff next time. But, you know, just in case anybody's wondering, you can actually buy casual swinger t-shirts. We have them. They're on our website at casualswinger.com under buy stuff. So if you guys check those out, and you know, we got a few funny type things up there, and you know, most of it's pretty much up. I think we make like what, $2,
if that. You know, like you said, a lot of it's just funny. I like the Hedo bum stuff. That shirt you made.
Oh yeah, that one got a lot of attention.
It got a lot of attention.
Yeah, so you know, we have a Hedo bum logo that we made, which is Hedo bums on my license plates. My Twitter handle, my personal Twitter handle is the Hedo bum. So that's, you know.
Yeah.
all kinds of that stuff. But, it was pretty cool. We got to hang out with friends, see a few groups. Some of the fluffs stayed over, so we saw some of those guys.
Yeah. And what's great about this trip is we didn't realize it till we were on our way. It's actually the anniversary of our honeymoon.
Oh, yeah, friendiversary.
Our friendiversary with Jim and Rachel. So a few things, we got to see people we haven't seen in maybe 4 years that only go on the February trips.
Right, like Mel.
Mel.
Yeah. It was great to see him and him slaying ass like he always does. That guy is prolific. So that was pretty cool. But we're going to save some of that for our recap coming up. But
yeah, let my voice recoup a little bit before we dive into all things Hedo on that trip.
Like your little raspy thing you've got going on.
You always do, you dirty motherfucker.
Oh, fever pussy too. Mm-hmm.
Get out of here.
So I'm telling you guys, next time your girl gets a fever, jump on it. It's a little bit hotter than usual. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're looking at me like I'm about to get killed, so maybe I'll just move on.
Yeah, it's a great segue.
We're doing some travel this week. I think I leave tomorrow for Cali, right?
Yes, you leave for Cali, and then you get back, and we turn around and leave again for the Midwest for the Rascals' wedding.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and then I go back to the Midwest the next week, and then you're gone again to... Cincinnati?
Yeah, the inner guts of Ohio. But we're going to see the Pervs, or at least I'm going to see the Pervs.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see Jason and Heather.
Yeah,
so.
I still have to look and see if I can tag along.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. So I'm going to go see some friends up there. But, it's crazy. We got back from Hedo and we're home for 12 hours and I'm off again. But, these things happen. Hedo was totally worth it. It's always totally worth it. And we'll get out there and do it again. But, you guys will notice this is different. This is a different cadence for us. They were different music for these episodes. A little more Jamaican feeling, a little more reggae. I'm over here swaying like I know how to dance. I don't.
It's kind of cute, though. Yeah. I definitely have the diff going, which sounds like an STI, but it's not. It's, the dreaded island fever.
Oh, I'm so happy that I was thinking I was going to catch
it. No, it's just missing home.
Yeah, and it happens, right? You definitely get a little bit of that going on, and you're like, I need to get back, and we need to book another trip. We have so many trips coming up, right? We've got NIN coming up.
Yep, in July.
Lone Star Spanking Party, which we still need to tell everybody about our meet and greet. We need to work with Beth on that one.
Yeah, we're working out the logistics. So we're going to be in Houston area towards the middle/end of May, and we're thinking about hosting a meet and greet with Beth. So more details to come on that.
Yeah, so just some intensely cool stuff that we're going to be able to do, and so excited to do it. But these episodes, right, what's different about them? What's special? So these episodes, we did 3 episodes in a row, A Living History of Hedonism II. The first one was The Ultimate Ambassador. The second one was The Winds of Change. And this one, Swinger in Chief. We interviewed 3 people, 3 guys, right? Mm-hmm. The first guy was Howard Herenstein. He's been to the resort hundreds of times over 38 years. Why do you go? Why do you keep going back? What's changed? That dude has so much to offer.
Really, he could write several books.
Yeah, he really could
at this point. And I love all his stories.
Maybe those people don't want to be in those books, but he could write them.
Dr. Spank.
Oh, Dr. Spank. Yeah, we have a pretty cool picture we're going to post up. The Return of Dr. Spank. We're going to hold him to that one. But that was his name back in the day, was Dr. Spank. And then, obviously John with the Fluffernutters, we talked to him and had a really nice long talk with him while we were at Hedo. Even though it was remote, so that was a mess, right? Being able to hear each other and talk over each other was a mess, but I love having him on.
Yeah, we did the best we could.
Yeah, and he was so cool to have on because we heard the story of how Hedo got acquired and what happened. Mm-hmm. And then we went a little deeper today with Harry Lange, where he talked about the conversation that had started where they were both drunk in the pool and said, we should buy this place. And sure as shit, here we are, just killing it. So let's talk about Harry for a minute, right?
Yeah. So Harry is a very special animal here. I mean, obviously, he is ultimately the guy that ended up saving Hedo by purchasing it. He was brought to the table with, John Gross, the guy who runs the Fluffernutters. And, he goes into detail, which you guys will hear later, about, this resort would not be there today without him.
No, it really wouldn't be. And, these guys, they're just normal guys who are on vacation, and they said, we love this place this much. The people around us love this place this much. We cannot let this happen. And they did a little homework, right? John led the charge, And by leading that charge, he saved the place we call home and probably one of the most notorious resorts on the face of the planet.
Yeah. I mean, there's really nothing exactly like Hedo. I don't know that you could replicate or duplicate it.
Well, and I think a lot of people have tried. I think, when we look at, the history of places like Desire or Temptation, they want to be Hedo-esque. They want to provide a competitive experience. And I think they do. I think they've succeeded in a competitive experience, but it lacks the magic.
But we can't really say that verbatim because we've never been.
No,
but
we're going to
fix it. It's the feedback that we've gotten
it's the feedback
about the energy and the different... everyone's got their own speed. Everyone loves specific things about every resort.
Right.
Hedo is just, our personal home.
And look at it this way, right? So remember, we've been to a couple of swinger clubs where we met a couple or a couple of couples that just made it amazing. Mm-hmm. The people we met made it fantastic. And then we hear reviews about that club and they're like, oh, that place sucks. This, that. And we're like, wait a minute, we had a great time.
Yeah.
And
it's a build your own adventure, right? And again, it's all what you make of it. Yeah, and not every experience is going to be great, but this place is definitely magical.
Yeah. And I think, you have a pretty good point there that it just depends, on who you meet and the people you get in with and you find your tribe and wham.
There, you're off to the races.
Yeah, you're off to the races. So let's talk a little bit more about Harry. So what is he, right? If you see Harry, if you happen to go to Hedo and they're like, oh, that's Harry, and they point at him, go say hi.
Yeah, he's totally personable. He's down to earth. He'll have a conversation with anyone. He may have a schedule to keep, so if he doesn't talk very long...
Yeah, and if he thinks you're hot or your wife is hot, he might hang out longer. He's the swinger in chief after all. But, for loving the ladies, he's so respectful. He's not one of those guys
really is.
That's going to hit on your wife. He won't do that.
No, he's a total romantic. He, like he said in the interview, which you'll hear, he waits to be approached, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, he does not just jump in there and be like, hey, baby. He doesn't do that. He's not creepy at all. He's just... awesome. We love Harry. He's a ballroom dancer, so Mallory's a fan.
I am. I am.
But he's also really, really smart business, financial. He can talk about just about anything. He travels the world. He alternates between Tokyo and Miami when he's not at Hedo. Dude's just. He's basically. Now that Hugh Hefner's not with us anymore, he's probably the next closest thing.
Yeah. I have to agree.
Yeah. That's kind of where he's at. But generally speaking, that's it. That's what we're doing, guys. We're going to release this on a Wednesday and come back to you guys next week with a recap of our trip to Hedonism II, which is going to be fun. I think you guys will get a kick out of it and throw in a little extra flavor there for some of the cool stuff that we got into because we did bring home a naughty story. So yeah, somebody was bad, but...
Or very, very good.
Oh, okay. I heard she was good. I wasn't there. But we'll talk about that and a few other things in our recap next week. But this is releasing on a Wednesday. It is the last in that 3-part series, and we'll go back to our regular cadence starting next Wednesday. Mallory, why don't you tell everybody where they can find us, and we'll get out of here.
Awesome sauce, guys. So we are Casual Swinger everywhere. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SLS, STC, and Cassidy.com. Be sure to check us out at casualswinger.com. And if you have any feedback, questions, or want to contact us, reach out at podcast@casualswinger.com.
She is always better at that than I am. Hopefully by now you guys know where to find us and leave us a review if you get a chance at iTunes. We really, really love those reviews. And we'll be back with Harry Lange for a living history of Hedonism II. You're listening to Casual Swinger. Something. You're listening to swingers who talk on microphones. See you soon. Welcome back, everybody, to Casual Swinger. I'm Mickey.
I'm Mallory.
And we have for you something we've looked forward to since the day we started this show. We have a special guest by the name of Harry Lange. Harry, how are you today?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing, Mickey?
Super. We just got home from Hedo where we got to see you. Mallory's a little sad. You guys didn't get to dance this time.
I know. I missed that.
Right? So next time, right?
I don't know how we missed that. I don't know. Should have worked out. I just left Hedo a few days ago myself. But I'll be back again tomorrow.
Right. That's like we all call it our home away from home, but it is legitimately your home away from home, right?
Well, it's definitely my home. That's the place I spend 90% of my time.
Oh, wow. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit. So I want to remind our listeners, we talked about it a little bit in the intro, but Mallory brought back a good case of what we call the Hedo crud, which means we kiss and hug on everybody. So anybody that has anything, but it actually turned into bronchitis. So if you hear her coughing, forgive her. It's bad broadcaster etiquette, but she was not missing this interview with you, Harry.
No chance. And I'll try to hide under the table.
So,
well, my recommendation is to be like me. If you're there all the time, I guess I must have some immunity to these things, so I don't ever come home with anything.
Go more often. That's the answer from the man right there.
Go more often. That's the answer.
I'll need that in a prescription, please.
So, we've got a few questions here for you. And, we try to keep these interviews to 45 minutes, but there's so many things we want to ask you. I mean, Harry Lange, financial legend, Magellan Fund, Fidelity, huge, right? You're a dancer, you're a business owner, and last of all, you're a swinger. So we want our listeners to know more about you. We're going to get into what you did and why you're so damn important to us. But tell us how you found yourself to become a guest at Hedonism II and what made it so important for you.
Well, actually, it's kind of a funny story because I actually never had heard of hedonism 15 years ago. And an ex-girlfriend of mine tricked me to go there. She thought because I was Fidelity and so conservative, business type person that I would never agree. So she told me, let's go golfing in Montego Bay. And then she got me to go to Rick's Cafe. She knew the hedonism boat would go by. And then she says, hey, let's get a night pass. I mean, this thing. Later, I told her, you wouldn't have had to trick me. I would have gone from day one. But anyway, I found it through it. I found it from an old girlfriend.
No way.
That's a great story.
And I loved her right from the first moment. Like I said, she wouldn't have had to trick me. I would have gone for it, and ever since then, it would been my favorite place in the world.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it kind of fit like a glove for you then.
Yeah,
well, that's for sure.
I and our listeners know all about this, Harry, but I talked Mallory into it. I was like, look, I said, there's this place I go, and we were first dating, and I made the mistake of telling her you'd make a great swinger, and she almost punched me in the face. And then, I'm like, I go to this place called Hedonism II. I love it. It's home for me. And I gave her Chris Santilli's book. And when she put it down, she said, when do we leave? And it was home for her immediately too. I mean, and that's how I knew this is the girl for me. I better marry her quick.
But strange enough, it's considered a woman's world that, something like 55% of the time, the first visit is arranged by the male in a couple. But then after that, by third on, it's actually more likely the woman. It becomes really a woman's place. Sometimes men wonder what they were asking for and begging for.
That's true, though. It's very empowering as a woman there. Like, I never feel better about myself, my environment, and life in general as I do when I'm there.
And you said that repeatedly.
I really do. I really like that. Well, I say like women rule like 70% of the other world, but there's 100%. And I think it is empowering to women because maybe you're a very popular cheerleader in high school and college, and then maybe you've had a couple of kids or gain a couple of pounds and you think you're not attractive, all of a sudden you show. And everybody is looking at you and wanting you. It really is, I think, empowering for women.
And that's one of my favorite things about Hedo in general is, we get there and I look at this woman that I see every day and I think she's beautiful and I tell her she's beautiful and she believes me, right? But there's nothing better than, 60, 80 men going, God, you're amazing. God, you're funny. God, you're beautiful. And it happens to all of them. Every woman I see, whether she works for the resort or whether she's, somebody else's wife, my greeting to them is, hey, beautiful, how you doing today? Because that's how I see him. And I think you see him the same way, right?
Yeah, then it is the same. And of course, the physical beauty, but the, interior beauty too of a lot of people go to Hedo. They're just very open-minded and friendly as anything. So you have an internal beauty besides the external beauty, and beauty can be all sizes and shapes and religions and everything. So it really is the most open place in the world, I think.
Yeah, no politics allowed, right?
No politics.
No.
So tell me, I mean, you traveled first with the Fluffs. You were a Fluffer at least at some point. And how many times did you go before, the opportunity availed itself? Because, by the way, just so you remember, this is the third part in a series we call A Living History of Hedonism II. So we've talked to Howard, who's been there 1,000,000 times. We talked to John, who was part of the original ownership group and had 1,000,001 good things to say about you. I'm pretty sure he's the founder of the Harry Lange fan club. But so what was your favorite part about Hedo that made you a repeater, and how long did you come before you decided I need to make sure this lives on, and I'm going to invest to make sure it happens?
It had gone, I believe it's 8 years. And I was with the fluffernutters, I said the first 3 or 4 times only with the fluffernutters, because it happened to also be my birthday. February 25th also always fell in the fluffernutter week, and I had a lot of good friends there, so I always went there, and then later I expanded. So I think I was there a total of like 15 times over 8 years. The first initially is just 1 time a year for the fluffernutters, then pretty soon to be a second time, third time, and it's kind of a typical pattern for people. And it actually is only 15 times at the time I decided to buy it, which made me actually a relative newcomer compared to a lot of people.
No, that's true.
Wow.
Well, you've since caught up.
So
I think I have caught up. Although only a few people, there are a few people, including Howard, that's still been there more days than I have, I think, but I'm catching up really fast.
I was going to say at this point, you're definitely on the fast track. So tell us about that moment that you knew hedonism was the right move for you, owning it.
Well, I guess I would have always thought it was, but and John Gross from Fluffernutters is the first one that brought it up. One time we were drunk in the pool and said, "Hey, let's buy this place." And I was just joking, "Oh yeah, let's buy it." I had no idea who the owner was or management or anything. He did though. So yes, he asked the owner what kind of price they'd want. The people from John Easter from Super Clubs, and so I asked that to get a full price thing, and there's no way I could afford it, and I couldn't do something like that when I was still working at Fidelity, a conservative company. So we laughed it off. But then, I don't know, 6 months later, he came to me and said, "You know what? It really is for sale now. At a more of a bank kind of bargain price." And so I jumped at that. It turned out perfectly because I had already retired from Fidelity and had gotten my payout. So it really worked out. I never thought it was even possible. But any time in my whole life in the last 15 years, they said I could buy it, I would have. Just timing was perfect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, yeah, we're very grateful that happened because, that was a critical point for the resort. I mean, it could have gone to just about anybody if it was up for sale in that fashion. And for all we know, it could have been another Sandals or Beaches, and then it would just have been.
That's what I was bidding against. Sorry, I was bidding against Sandals and Ritz-Carlton and the Sunwing Airlines, one that built a Royalton, and a couple others. But there's no other like lifestyle friendly bidder. I guess there's one that had zero capital on that. The real but it had been torn down. It was just sold for the real estate.
Right. Yeah, because the property itself is.
I wasn't sure it was going to be my greatest investment in the world financially, but that's my passion. And if I didn't step in and buy it, it would have gone away for sure.
So you just used a word that is so pivotal and critical in my world and my life is passion. I think that if you do something you're passionate about and you put your heart into it, money will follow, right? And
Sure.
you probably knew, you knew that, man, this may not be the best idea in the world, but you were so damn passionate about it, you felt like you had to do it. And we've had a lot of conversations leading up to this interview, which probably feels weird from your perspective because we went and learned about you. And we do this. Don't we're not creepers or anything.
Maybe a little,
but we do this for anybody.
Maybe a little. That's okay.
Yeah, where we party. But we wanted to learn more about you from other people, how you were perceived, what people, basically who you are from an outward perspective before we let you tell your story. And we talked to guests, we talked to partners of yours, employees. We did homework on the internet because you are a public figure. And the overwhelming theme that came out of it was this massive improvement to employee morale and their love of working for you. Some quotes that I got from people that work for you that I'm not going to use their names, so you can't go back and hug them and tell them how awesome they are because this was totally unsolicited. Great boss, wonderful manager. We love Harry. Just a few of the things we heard. So I want to know about your management style and why the employees were the key in your turnaround strategy for Hedonism II. Because a lot of people would just go in and upgrade the facilities and go, come get naked and talk to each other. But that's not what happens at Hedo. So why were they your key and what did you do to really do that?
Well, just in 8 years, I gotten to know a lot of them and really they do feel almost like family to me. So I care about them. I don't treat them just like slaves or whatever, or replaceable or anything like that. So I care about them, try to learn about their families. And then if they screw up, they're not going to get fired on the spot. We give people second, third chances. And compensation, I did raise that. And twice a year, I give $100 cash bonus as a gift to them. That plus just the fact treat them like people, not like just numbers or whatever, just paid staff, and also the fact that I'm just around all the time. They can talk to me if they have some issue or some problem. They can talk to me. How often do you get to see the CEO, owner of the company, just hanging out all the time? So I think there are a lot of reasons that they really want to work at Hedonism.
That's awesome. And just for our listeners, there was a little audio breakup there. We're doing this over cellular, so these things happen sometimes. But what Harry said was that he does a $100 cash bonus twice a year for these guys around Christmas time. Is that right, Harry?
Well, one time around Christmas time, one time in August before the school year starts, because our staff have to buy uniforms and pay a little bit of tuition for their kids at school.
Yeah, that's true, because they don't have the benefit of free public schooling through, the entire leg of what we call traditional school, where you go kindergarten through 12th grade.
Right.
So they actually have to pay for tuition and uniforms and school supplies, and it's very expensive.
And some of the groups make a big impact there too, right? Because they bring down school supplies and backpacks and things like that, not only for the employees, but for some of the residents of Jamaica. Is that correct?
Oh, that's definitely true. Because we have so many repeat guests, and they think of themselves as Hedonism also and part of the community. So bring down things. They come year after year. They bring down supplies, right, for our staff and for the community. Some of them support the local schools and things like that. So we really want to have a positive impact on the community. But one thing back on the staff, they're so amazing now that, to be honest, they were actually pretty amazing even when the place is run down. I think their attitude and loyalty has even gone way further now, but they were actually really good to start with. There's no way I would have bought it if the staff wasn't good to start with.
Love it. So as it sits now, you've already invested, probably millions into this resort in an effort to upgrade and repair the facilities, some of which that were probably needed at this point. What do you think had the bigger impact at the resort for the customer experience? Was it the investment in employee morale, or the facilities, or evenly spread?
I'd have to say it's probably more evenly spread, because the facilities were so bad that I think a lot of people wouldn't have come back. But I think it's the employee morale and the enthusiasm of the staff that really keeps them coming. So I think to retain them, I think I had to upgrade the facility, but the staff is what makes them come back.
I have to agree with you. There's no better feeling than getting off that bus and walking up into the lobby and seeing, 5 or 6 familiar faces, and you're getting hugs and they remember your name.
Oh, very much so. I mean, we got off the bus and I mean, granted, I'm a pretty visible figure when I'm down there. It's hard to miss me, but
yeah, that's true.
but I mean, Michael saw me, and we hadn't seen each other in 3 or 4 days. He just wasn't there. And I'm talking about that he's in charge of Bell Services, Michael. And
right. He
comes running up to me and he goes, "When did you get here?" And I was like, 4 days ago. "And you didn't find me?" And he gives me this giant bear hug. Harry, he lifted me off the ground. And lifting me off the ground is no small order. Okay, so the
staff has amazing memory. Yeah, you probably saw Eldon in the piano bar.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
he remembers everybody's name and drink. It's unreal for years. One couple only ever been to Hedonism one time, 3 years ago. And when they showed up this year, after not seeing them 3 years and only had seen them one time, he immediately knew their name and their drink. So I'd never cut it as a bartender. That's why I have to be owner and CEO.
It's funny. I walked into the piano bar, and not only does Eldon remember my real name, but he remembers my name on the show. And so, and he's like, "I'm not calling you by a fake name." And he comes around the bar and gives me a hug, and he had my drink in his hand. And I'm like,
Yep.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all how you do what you do. I actually I pissed off one of the bartenders because I got him in trouble because it was the piano bar and it was empty. We were setting up for cocktail hour, and I walked around and just grabbed myself a drink because I was dying, and nobody was there. And his boss walked in with him. It wasn't Eldon. It was another bartender, and he was mad at me for 2 days. And he's like, "You're lucky I like you." I was like, "I'm sorry. I know I got you in trouble." I said I didn't think I was going to get caught, but I did. So you're not supposed to do that, guys. Don't let the employees do their job. That was bad on me. But so tell me something about these employees that we love so much. What's their average tenure like? And because we talk about people like Paulette or Michael or Donna, they've been there forever. Mm-hmm. Why do they stay so long?
There are a lot. Yeah, several have been there 15 or 20 years. I'd say that average might be even a 10-year kind of range. The tenure that entertainers are a little bit shorter because that's such hard work, and you can't just do splits and headstands your whole life. I mean, so that
Right.
quite often the entertainers work for 3 years, maybe 4 years, and then they go on. They save up a lot of money because entertainers live on site. They earn a great salary, so they can save up, and that's usually how they start a family or go to college or do a better life. So they're shorter, and that's kind of by design. Mm-hmm. But the other staff, I'd probably guess, is probably 10-year average or more.
Yeah, which is crazy. And so, interesting note, and I've noticed this is new in my vision, and maybe it's by design, but I've seen a lot of ECs that have graduated into other roles in the resort. People like Adrian, people like Denise, mm-hmm. right? They've actually moved up in the organization to doing other things.
Right. If they don't have plans to go to college or go overseas or anything like that, then we offer attractive career paths where they can go into the front desk or special events, all these different things. So we do have a career paths for entertainers and other people too, to show real the skills that we need.
Right. What do you guys look for in an employee when somebody comes up and goes, "I'm the guy, I'm the girl, I want to work at Hedonism too"? What are the features you look for in a person?
Probably the number one would have to be just a good smile, the enthusiasm, eager to serve guests. That's way more important to us actually than work history. I worked at St. Louis 4 years and somewhere else 3 years. That's not quite as important because we can train a lot of the skills, but you have to come in with really positive attitude, a hard work, good work ethic that you'll show up on time every day, and just be someone that'll be out there and the guests will love.
I love that question because I automatically assumed, we were talking about this on the plane, that the prerequisite has to be their disposition and that kindness and that positivity that all the employees we run into just exude. It's like they glow with it.
And we give a lot of people the job for the first time who've never worked in the service industry at all. Wow. So it is more that enthusiasm and that spirit that really count more than number of years at something or other.
I noticed some interns there for the first time. Is that new to Hedo?
It's fairly new, yes. That people that we give a chance to that really don't have any prerequisite, anything. We're not sure that maybe if they haven't worked even at all for a company. So we do have a few interns just for a test, but in general, we can know from the start. So interns fairly new, and it's not going to be a major part of our hiring.
Oh, okay. Well, I met a kid named Michael, tall kid, real skinny, very young, loved him. Yeah. He was great.
He was fantastic.
So, yeah, someone to do like that, they'll be easy. It won't be intern for long. They'll be full-time.
Yeah, awesome. So something that I noticed this last trip, and I don't know why it never occurred to me, that there's very few expats that live in Jamaica. Do you think that's changing with some of the foreign investments in the island in Jamaica? And do you see this as a good thing?
So a lot of the investment now is mostly coming from the Spanish and now from the Chinese. Chinese right. Probably biggest and Spanish second. And they do bring in a lot of expats. We actually rather hire locals. The unemployment rate is so high in Jamaica, and jobs like ours are really precious premium jobs. Mm-hmm. So we'd rather stay in good stead with the government and say we're Jamaicans. So we actually have no expats at all working at Hedonism. The family, my sister-in-law and brother work there, but that's his family. But in terms of outside, no, we're 100% Jamaican. I think that does as well as the government. There are a lot of skills for Jamaicans. We really don't need expats to come in. So by the time I took over, there are 260 staff, now they're 430. So I've had 170 net jobs, all for Jamaicans.
Wow.
That really keeps me in good with the government and community and everything.
That is awesome. And
beautiful.
So that is probably the first part of the next question. That's going to be an answer to the next question, because I wanted to know, as a manager, as a CEO, what do you think are the key investments you made? And I was going to say facilities, but in hedonism, what are some of those key investments you made? And obviously, 170 people is definitely a key investment. But what about, in addition to those people and maybe management structure, what are some of the other investments you made, both facilities and in people? And are you willing to talk about any investments in the future you're thinking about?
Well, we had talked about, right, investing in staff and just giving new jobs and higher salaries, and also started a pension plan where now everybody has, percentage of their income goes into a 100% company-funded pension plan for them. So eventually when they retire or even quit or whatever, they have some money built up. But that's kind of rare on the island. But in terms of just the facilities, one of the cheapest things I did, but people love, is heating the swimming pool. Did that.
Oh, I noticed.
That's a simple thing.
Yeah, I noticed there were people in the pool in February at night. That has never happened, and since I've been doing it 18 years, I've never seen people in February in the pool at night. At least not anybody that was sober.
Right. I think it's 2 years and 2 months ago that finally, heated the pool for the first time. That made a huge difference. So you can use it day and night. And I have a really good control over it now, too. I can go from 86 degrees when it's really hot outside to 90 degrees when it's colder outside. So, we can actually fine-tune it as well. So, the heated pool has been a big plus. People like the rooms. We've now upgraded 100% of the rooms. And that's a huge upgrade if anyone knows the old days versus now, showers at work and have hot water and TV, phone, Wi-Fi, everything that didn't have any of that at the time I took over. So, we had TVs, but they didn't work very often.
No, I don't think. Well, if you're doing it right, you're not turning on the TV at Hedo anyway, right? Number one.
Well, there are like 5 porn channels.
Well, but there's a mirror over the ceiling. You should be making your own porn. Which, granted, those mirrors are still the Funhouse mirrors from back in the day for some of those rooms, so they're hilarious. But it's still sexy as hell to watch you put on your own show with whatever friends you make.
Yeah, I like some of the old mirrors on the thing. Yeah. Sometimes I'd swear there wasn't a TV in my room except if I banged my head on it. So that's the only time I noticed a TV. You're right. There's no reason to watch TV there.
No, there isn't. And I got to tell you, the upgrades to the rooms from a guest perspective, not that you give a flying shit what I think, but I love them. I took a picture of Mallory behind that frosted glass door with the red light. Oh, shit, that's a sexy picture. I'm going to post that for our listeners sometime or soon.
I think that's the new...
Oh, yeah, I got to post that. That's good, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the new must-do picks at Hedo, I think, along with the sign that's out on the dock.
Oh, the sign and the bridge. Yeah. The sign, the bridge, and now the frosted glass picture, because now that's a little off-brand for our images. Our listeners know that most of our pictures we post are black and white. It's kind of a thing we do. But this picture's so good, I think I'm going to have to post it off-brand because it's just really good.
Aw, shucks.
Yeah, but there's a hot girl behind
and all these rooms, all these room upgrades were done just by my brother Richard, his wife Diane, and myself. We had no outside architects, no outside designers. We did it ourselves. My brother was the one that came up with the red light idea, and I thought that was pretty brilliant.
Oh, it's fantastic, and it really does light the room fairly well with a light you can use once your eyes get used to it. So you can leave it on, not bang your toes on your luggage, and you can also see who it is you are fucking, which is awesome. So
that's pretty good. Yeah.
And I tell you, go ahead.
Well, that and the steam in the shower makes some pretty sexy sex scenes. With the steam shower or the red light and things like that, it makes a great silhouettes, and it's pretty hot.
This is why we have to talk to Harry, because I didn't think of this steam. So now we got to go back to Hedo and do this immediately. But in the premium rooms, you guys have a really neat backlit mirror on the ceiling, which is really cool too. Whose idea was that?
Now this, Dan, one of our guests, does that. He does LED lightings and things like that. So we did do that. And by the way, in terms of premium rooms, those were done 4 to 4.5 years ago. So now relative to the regular rooms, they're a little more outdated. So that's what we're going to work on by next season. You'll see more premium in the premium rooms, but we'll keep that LED lighting behind the mirror.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think Dan's a member of our group, actually. We just saw him a couple days ago, so pretty wicked. So let's get into, because this episode is called Swinger in Chief, and you are one of the most fun dudes on the planet to party with. So let's talk lifestyle for a little bit. as the swinger in chief, the life of the party, and you do it all as a guest, right? When you and I saw each other just a couple of days ago, I walked up to you and you were checking out, and I was shocked. And I shouldn't have been, because I know a lot of things about you, right? But you were paying your tab. You had a bill. And I'm like, holy shit, this guy owns the joint and he's paying his bill. Like, why do you pay your bill? And you're like, because I pay like everybody else. And then in my conversations, I found out you ride the bus to and from the resort, just like everybody else. You don't take a private car. You don't take Tim Air. And the room you have there is not a premium room. It's a regular room, just like everybody else. And I'm like, wow, that is how you CEO if you really want people to respect you. So tell us how you separate being the CEO and being a guest. And personally, why do you love being a guest there?
Well, as you say, I do exactly the same thing as the guests. So, yeah, ride the bus, and I do take whatever best room is available. I don't keep the same room all the time. When I check out my stuff, and I go back again and see whatever other room is available. So I do get to see a lot of different types of rooms. Sometimes they're premium, but usually not. And between being guest and CEO, the only thing is, well, as a swinger, being CEO, I get to feel a little bit like Hugh Hefner, so I get way more opportunities than as a regular guest. But on the other hand, I have to be more careful because I can't afford to have someone write up in a comment card or a TripAdvisor that the CEO owner was trying to hit on my wife inappropriately. So I have to be way more careful than I was. I have to kind of wait to be approached rather than approaching people. But otherwise, I act the same as I was as a guest. Well, as a guest, is my favorite place in the world. Now I own the best playground. How come I can't play in the sandbox too?
That's awesome.
I love it. So since we brought up lifestyle, how long have you been a part of it?
I think it was about 15 years, something like that.
Yeah,
the woman who brought me to Hedo also took me to Fun for Two in Amsterdam, so she kind of broke me in. But I said I wasn't kicking and screaming.
I was going to say, you were holding hands, skipping along.
So in terms of lifestyle and your approach to the lifestyle, and I know, like you just said, it's changed. You kind of have to wait to be approached before you can really engage in those kind of conversations. And that makes perfect sense, right? It makes a ton of sense to me. Mallory and I tell a story, when they ask about the safety in Jamaica and things like that, that the only asshole we ever met at Hedo was an American. And he was one that was claiming to be the owner of the resort when we met him. And we knew damn well he wasn't, because we knew John and we knew who you were. And we're like, yeah, you're not that guy. So that was not awesome. But, in our conversations, as I was asking about Harry Lange, the swinger, and Harry Lange, the lifestyler, this theme came out. And the theme was that Harry's a hopeless romantic. And a quote that somebody gave to me is, "A lady in Harry's life feels like the most special girl in the world." So is that the secret to your success in the lifestyle? And what else do you think a guy has to do to find a little lovin'?
I think that is a big part of it. Yeah, and at the moment it is. I convinced myself that she is the only thing in my life at that time, and she's the most beautiful object I've ever seen. So I like to kiss her, caress her, dance with her, and make her feel special, because I feel special being with her. So that's how I've always operated, and I guess women like it.
Yeah.
Women love it. I will tell you that. They have an undivided attention to be cared for and shown that much love, especially in a short amount of time, because everything's kind of heightened, especially when you're at Hedo, and it's amped up. So yeah.
Well, it's paradise for ADD too, right? So you're like, ooh, squirrel. But when you can give somebody your undivided attention the way you do, it's got to make them feel like $1 million.
Yeah, I'd like to do it slower and easier. My preference way is, like dancing with them out in the pool, and then maybe at night on the floor in front of the stage, and talk to them, kiss them gently. No, that's really is my style, and it wouldn't matter if that worked better or not. That's my style.
I love it.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So, I mean, being in this environment and being in the lifestyle, do you think couples actually have an easier time breaking through the barriers at Hedo? And do you have any advice on how to knock them down?
I'm not sure I missed the last part. How to... But the first part, I'll answer that first, is I think that it is the easiest environment to, if you're a swinger, and you want to do like a full swap, it's probably the best environment ever, because during the daytime in the pool, people are all naked partying, and then you can start touching or kissing a little bit and stuff, and that might lead to something later. As a contrast, I was on a swinger cruise, and there's a Hedo couple, and then there's a German couple. And on a cruise, you're not allowed to touch, and you're not even allowed to be naked that often. So they were talking about lifestyle and how many years they've been in it. And the Hedo couple invited the German couple back to their room like 11 a.m. And they had the candles and the lube and the music all set for a little swinger action. And the German couple came in with backpacks. They thought they were going to go out to the excursion that day. So
oh my
a lot more.
Oh my gosh.
That wouldn't happen at Hedo, because you can kind of test the waters. The best way is if you really want to hook up with a couple, and swinger as a full. The woman kind of approaches the other woman and maybe kisses or touches a little bit. If that's going well and they get response, and possibly they can touch the other men a little bit and just see how it goes. But you can test the waters. So it's easy hook up full swap swingers when you're in a. You kind of test to see if it's going the right way, rather than just, hey, do you want to come back to a room and you don't really know enough, what other people turns them on or anything about that. So I think it's actually the easiest environment for a couple to be swingers.
So, and those are certainly, those are social barriers, which, I mean, that's hilarious for starters. I'm going to remember that story for a while. But there's physical barriers if you think about it too. When you go to a swing club, you've got, let's say you get there at 9 p.m., the place closes at 3 a.m. You've got a definitive period to meet people, get to know them, decide, and first of all, if you want to see them naked, which at Hedo you already have, right? So there's a definitive, you've got some time barriers, you've got social barriers, you've got physical barriers. Hedo overcomes all of those, I think, right?
Right, because I go to swinger clubs some now. It's funny, I went to Hedo before I ever been to a swinger club, so now I'm kind of backfilling by going to some. But you're right, it opens at 9, but people don't get there till 10 or 11, and they're dancing and talking till 12 or 1. It's getting near the end of the time, so invite people back. And if they do end up hooking up, it's kind of, you don't even get to know them. I don't get to my romantic move at all. It's just
it's like shit or get off the pot. And that's not romantic.
This is just a quick physical action if it does hook up. In general, I mean, but there are other cases, I'm sure, too.
Yeah, it's just not as much fun. So let's talk about nerves for a minute. I think nerves play a huge part. We did an episode recently, and we've talked about it a bunch because it hit such a chord with our listeners, but fear, uncertainty, and doubt, which nerves play into that. So, do nerves play a factor for you, number one? And how do you think couples can deal with their nerves, whether their nerves about going to Hedo, even if they're not lifestyle, right? Because not everybody goes to Hedo's lifestyle. And how do they conquer those jitters?
Well, I guess one of the things people have to know is that it's not all swingers. We're talking about just the swinger. Overall, we figure out, just through a lot of observation, it's maybe 1/3 of the guests there are real hardcore swingers. If they don't hook up with another couple or saying there's something to be disappointed, then they're about 1/3 that would consider it the right situation, or they're maybe like light, possibly a soft swap or touching or kissing kind of thing. And then there are 1/3 that really don't participate in that at all. They just like the environment. They like the shows and maybe a little bit exhibitionist or things like that. But it's 1/3 won't swing under any circumstances. That's kind of on the average. Some months are more, some weeks are more or less. But overall, that's, I figured, after seeing tens of thousands of guests, how I'd break it down. So people shouldn't really be nervous. You don't even have to be naked. You can show up on the clothing optional side the whole week. You don't have to be naked with anyone. You don't have to kiss anyone. You don't have to touch anyone. So how I tell couples to do it is that before you go, you should make some rules. You have a little bit of what, this is going to be okay, this is not okay, this is kind of my fantasy, this is my limits. And you stick with that for the first couple of days. You don't get overly drunk and violate those rules. And then at the end of a couple of days, revise it. Maybe you want to be more restricted. Maybe you want to be more open. Maybe you have new fantasies, things like that. So a couple working at it together can really make it work out, whether they want to be swingers, don't want to be swingers, just like to see the lifestyle. But it's not scary at all. That people worry about being scared that they're going to be big orgies or forced to do stuff. And once they get there, they'll see this is probably the easiest, most non-threatening environment you'll ever see.
I can attest to that because I actually feel like going to a regular bar as a girl, if I show up alone, that there's a lot more unwanted interaction in an environment like that than at swing clubs or at Hedo. At Hedo, I feel safer than I do anywhere else in the world.
Right, and hedonism, like I said, there are a lot of swingers. Maybe a third are pretty like me that really want to swing, but we have plenty of other people to swing with. We don't need to try to pressure somebody that's not into it or not
absolutely.
sure, so
Yeah.
there is, so there really isn't any pressure.
Love it. So, I mean, you've been going to Hedonism over 15 years. You own it. Do you have any advice for our listeners that are considering to go? How to pick their week, or the time of year and the vibe?
Yeah, which is always the toughest one because that's the number one question I get from newcomers is what's the best week to go. But on our website, www.hedonism.com, if you look under events, you can see all coming in. If you click on that, it'll tell a little bit more about what they're like. Because they're, for young people, there's young swingers where the average age is 32, which are up to, bubbly bears, butt cracks, fluffernuts. They're probably the older groups. The average age is over 50. Overall, the average age is around 48. But if you look on the site, you get a little bit of idea. If it's younger, if it's more swinger. And not only at Hedonism, a lot of places, January is considered the swinger month. So a lot higher percentage in January. And it's, Hedonism is busier from kind of Halloween until middle of May. So it's going to be pretty much 100% full all the time. So if you go during the season. If you want a little bit quieter, then May, June, August, September are the months probably to go because it won't be 100% full, won't be party all day. And you can maybe, if you want to explore things in a little quieter environment, those will be months to go. But you look at the individual events and they click on the groups and they'll tell a little bit about themselves. Of course, they'll never say that they are boring or old or something like that, right? They have to take everything with a grain of salt, but they'll give a little bit of idea of what kind of things that they're into.
Love it.
That's a great way to describe it. And, you alluded, to, obviously the different age ranges for the groups. And I think different groups do bring a different flavor to the resort, right? I mean, when we talk about YSW, Young Swingers Week, that's a little more hardcore, but with younger people, you're going to have a little more drama. It happens. With your older people, it's going to be a little more subdued. You've got guys like the Dirty Pervs who throw an insane party, right? You've got the group that we travel with, Rachel's Rascals, who we throw a pretty good party too, I'd like to think. But we're not only lifestyle, right? I mean, that's just, so it's what are you really looking for? Do you want lifestyle? Do you want a party? Do you want subdued? When do you want to go? Right? The first question I always ask people is, when do you want to go? Because that's the first thing I need to know. When are you free? When do you have somebody to watch your kids? Right. And then we go from there. Are you lifestyle? Are you not? Right. I mean, it's like a checklist and I can almost,
right, it is. And then even if you have a certain month you can go, each week will be quite a lot different. And like you said, Rachel Rascals, Dirty Pervs throw pretty amazing parties. They'll do Fluffernuts. There are a few groups that do that. And then there's like Wild Women Vacations, which sounds like Wild Women Vacation, but it is a little bit more woman, a little bit more new to the lifestyle kind of group. So the other big variety to go there for sure. But yeah, you're right. A checklist is pretty good because almost everyone I talk to the first time says, what's the best week to go? But there's no easy answer until you really understand the couple a lot better.
Yeah, it's the number one question we get too, whether it be on Reddit or on our Twitter page or whatever. We get a lot of questions about Hedo because we talk about Hedo a lot. We go there a lot, right? We're there 3-4 times a year. So we get a lot of questions about the resort, and that's the number one question we get as well. So you're not alone. Feel better. But, when we talk about Hedo, it's said so frequently that without the people, Hedo would be buildings on a beach. But even in the conversations with some of your employees leading up to this, there was a theme. And the theme was, there's a magic to this place, and we don't get it. We don't know what it is, but there's a magic to this place. That relationships that are made on the beaches of Hedo or in the pool or wherever else, they seem so much more real, so visceral, and they last lifetimes. I mean, Mallory and I have met people at Hedo that will be friends no matter where we meet, when we meet, if it's years before we see them again, that it's some of the most powerful friendships of our lifetime. What do you think it is as the CEO and the swinger in chief that makes Hedo so damn special?
I know it really is a magical place. Like I said, people make lifetime friends, and if you ask a lot of the people at Hedonism, their best friends in the world now are ones they met there. And there are a lot of reunions around the country. The biggest one is August every year. I guess it's Gunson Beach. You call it a Sandy Hook in New Jersey, where I think like 500 people show up. So just Hedonism too. Also, that people travel with each other. I've traveled to visit a lot of different guests, friends. You're very common. So you do become lifetime friends. If you do have anything, if open-minded and whether nudist, swinger, or whatever, it's really amazing to have people with the same kind of interests. So I think it's kind of natural we become friends. But and it's so funny, a lot of people wouldn't get it if you haven't been, even naked, not just at Hedo, but any of these places that you talk to each other. You'd think that when you're naked, you'd be kind of covering up or quiet, but you just walk by a place like Sandoz or something where couples aren't even talking to each other at Hedo, very first time, I bet you'll talk to 50, 100 people in your first couple of days.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, naked somehow opens it up. Yeah, really, it throws off all the barriers. Because normally in society, we have kind of a class system, right? If you got Chanel purse or something, but Hedo, when you're naked, you have to throw all those things off. And we've got truck drivers, circuit court judges, whatever. Everyone's the same.
Yep.
And that's really the magic about it. Everyone's equal, and you can make real friends that way. You don't feel this is upper class or lower class or whatever you'd feel that a lot of other are just normal. That's your normal.
Yeah.
I think Hedo's normal. Vanilla world, I guess.
Everyone's equal my ass. I've seen some of the dicks around that pool.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, in general, I couldn't agree more. We say it all the time. Like, it is the great equalizer, and you don't know till you go.
I should probably make two corrections. And so far what I said is that when I was talking about big parties, I don't know if you know Carly and Mark from Topless Travel, they make one of the best parties also at Hedo. I shouldn't leave them out. They come several times a year. And then next time at Hedo, I meant compared to where I am in Miami. But overall, it'd be 45 to 50% of the total year. So the 90% was inaccurate if I meant 90% of the whole year.
I don't think anybody's holding you to that. And, it's funny. We have...
okay, but I just said it.
Yeah. This is the third one in the series. And in the first two episodes of the series, Carly and Mark came up both times. So yep, they know we love them.
Yeah, definitely. And we get to see them, actually, because they do events down here by us at a club called Secrets. So about once a month, once every other month, we actually get to run into them.
I don't know if you know, but I actually own 2 units of Secrets Hideaway myself.
Do you really?
Nice.
No, I didn't know that.
My picture's on there. Yeah, check it out. It's Hedo Harry, units 143, 144, right by the pool. It's a good spot.
All right, next time I'm there, I'm putting booby prints on your window.
We'll have to rent that room now. This is Harry's joint. We'll give him some more money. We don't give him enough.
Oh, I love this so much. And going back to what you said, I couldn't agree more about the friendships and the people you meet there, because we're leaving on Friday to go to a rascal wedding with a couple we met 3 years ago on a trip. And I mean, yeah, they're some of our closest friends.
I held the fucking ring, so now I have to go to their wedding in Iowa. It's negative 25 right now.
Gotta pick friends in the warm places.
Right? So can you talk about what's next for the Hedonism brand, or give us any insight on, if there's going to be additional upgrades or expansions, and if you're considering, maybe looking into other resorts?
The first thing, just on the things we're doing next, it'll be visible to everybody, would be upgrading all the 36, the prior premium rooms. Those will all be upgraded by next season. A lot of the other things we'll do will be a little bit behind the scenes. So we're going to upgrade the kitchen, the electrical system. Then we're going to do a lot more fun stuff. I don't know, but one of the things that's almost completed, doing the old squash courts, were then called the social room. Now it's the Kama Sutra Palace. So it's a very romantic place, and there'll be tantra classes in there and yoga, and all the groups will be available to use it for whatever type of things they want, everything from BDSM or whatever it is. But that's going to be a really cool place now, and that's going to be ready in the next month or so. We'll always keep working on stuff. In terms of the brand, I do own it worldwide. And it's kind of bad to have that famous a brand that people around the world have all heard of and only have the one facility. But for me, this is enough, but my daughter will take over if something ever happens to me, and maybe if I'm still around. If she's a medical doctor, emergency medicine, and she's lifestyler for at least 11 years, and she comes for Young Swingers Week, and she'll be again here in a couple of weeks. And so she'll take over. So it'll be more up to her, the next generation. Do we want to have more hedonism resorts, or maybe have some nightclubs around the U.S. or something like that? So I'm pretty sure we'll do something, but I want the next generation to decide, not me.
That is super cool.
I love that.
And we didn't cover this here. We covered this in some of the other episodes, but you have made some massive upgrades. And I think that one of my favorite thing about the upgrades is that they're a little more sex forward, right? I mean, things like the playroom, which Mallory and I visited while we were there.
Oh yeah.
And the bondage room, which now I'm shopping for a bondage horse, which I never thought I would have in my house, or a spanking horse, and I need to buy one of those damn things. Thank you, Harry. Other central type things like more play areas, and I think they're talking about a play area for the disco last I heard. But you really have made play a part of the hedonism experience if you want it to be. It's not in your face, right? It's not like right there, like here's our sex room. But I think that's really, really neat. There's construction going on. Go ahead.
All the time. Yeah, we're the big construction is pretty much over, but yeah, little things like that. We have a playroom, of course, open every night except for a lot, which is the back of the spa, which is really nice. It's open air on one side, and like you say, a little bit of cross and a couple love swing and things like that on the other. Now we also have a 24/7 little playroom behind the hot tub. That brown building. I don't know if you got a chance to check that out.
I did.
It's got sheets, towels.
Yeah, we heard some
girl. Check that out too. Yeah, that's all the time. And then this new Kama Sutra Palace will be a playroom. It could be alternate when it's raining, but it might actually open it every night or even afternoon too. I'm not sure yet how that'll work out. But we're going to make sure that if you have the urge, you don't have to really wait to go to a playroom. That sometimes people come back after like a catamaran ride and they're really worked up, and we have places you can. You don't have to wait till 10:30 or 11 or something.
Yeah, I like that also, because when we talk about play, if you want to go somewhere and maybe you want it to be safer, right? Because maybe you don't know this person that well. When we talk about the safety of women, if maybe they want to do a hot wife thing, right? And they want to take a guy back and they don't want to take him to their room. Where do they take them? And that playrooms are great for that, because you have attendants in those playrooms. There's a person there that isn't, part of things. Which that person also enforces the rules, like you have to be naked, and you can't bring in a cell phone and things like that. So there's a lot of really great things that you guys are doing that I call sex forward, and I love that. And
another thing,
go ahead.
Oh, and another thing, of course, if you notice in that playroom, is that we have one huge mattress in the middle. But you go in there, it doesn't mean you're necessarily going to play with someone else. So you could think about it. And then we also have the little matches around the edge, which mean if you definitely don't want to play with somebody, you go in one of those. So it's easier with the big one in the middle. I like that, because there could be other couples on it, and as long as you're a safe distance away, it's safe to jump on too. But they also have the little individual mattresses for couples who just want to be by themselves.
Exactly.
Of course, they could change their mind and jump on the big one too.
Exactly. It creates the environment to, be in a group environment, and the consideration of whether you want to include or be watched or watch.
Right. And if you would like to be bit on the ass by a Jamaican mosquito under the stars, that is a great place to do it. I'd say there was some.
You just spray. There aren't that many mosquitoes. I guess you get occasionally.
Yeah, it's not too bad. You guys are good about
not
that.
This trip. No, it was great.
And that was a great place to have sex under the stars, and really central with the waterfalls and the pools, and it's super cool. Everybody knows we love Hedo, but more importantly, we love what you've done. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you from our show. Thank you from our listeners. Thank you for making time. Right? I mean, we know how busy you are. We tried to track you down all week.
Yeah. Now I'm in Miami. I have a little more time, right? When I'm there, it's a little bit more hectic.
Yeah, a little bit. But Harry, thank you.
Business stuff or play dates or whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty busy when I'm at Hedo, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's no question about it. We can't wait to see you again, and we hope you had a great birthday last week at Hedo.
Yep.
And
I wanted more low key this time. Sometimes it gets out of hand, but
Sometimes it gets out of hand.
Yeah, I think on your birthday you came by our table and you're like, I think there's 4 women in my room right now.
Oh, no, it's only 3. The number keeps going up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Swinger in Chief. This is our interview with Harry Lange, CEO, owner, and president of Hedonism Resorts. So hopefully this has been fun for you. And if we missed any of your questions, reach out to us. We'll get them to Harry and hopefully get some of your questions answered from the man himself. Harry, thank you very much. Mallory, why don't you take us out? Tell people where they can find us.
All right, guys, we are Casual Swinger everywhere. That means Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SLS, SCC, and Cassidy. And please send your questions, feedback, and comments to podcast@casualswinger.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back right after this. You've been listening to Casual Swinger.
Hey guys, you're listening to Casual Swinger, and I'm Mallory.
And I'm still Mickey. I'm a little less tongue-tied than when we went into that interview, but
I'm glad there was a little quid pro quo there, because the episode before that I stumbled.
oh, I still have that blooper reel, and I will release it one of these days.
We'll do a blooper reel, like
We'll just save
intro
'em.
or something one time, yeah. So we hope you all enjoyed that conversation we had with Harry Lange. Great gentleman, literally saved Hedo. He's constantly investing in the property and the people, and we were just so lucky to have him on.
I love that episode. I love that interview. I've been waiting to sit down and talk shop with Harry for a long time now, and to be able to grab him and catch his attention. Of course, we had to do it on a Sunday because he's so busy, but
Right.
Just a great guy. And of course, he's going right back to Hedo tomorrow.
Yeah, lucky man.
Well,
When you buy your own playground, though, I mean, come on.
You buy your own playground. The sliding board is yours anytime you want to use it.
Exactly.
So, or the swing set or whatever the fuck you want to call it. But I don't think I said fuck the whole episode, so fuck it. But, we're going to be back next Wednesday, and we're going to talk a recap of this Hedo trip without getting too crazy. But it's actually a really cool episode because we did have some fun. Mallory had some fun.
I had a lot of fun. Met a lot of interesting folks, a lot of interesting dynamics.
We hung out with the triad.
We
so
did.
That's going to be kind of fun.
Yeah, so a lot of good stuff to talk about next week, and the recap of the Rascal wedding that we have. And
how many squirters can you fit under one roof?
I don't know, but I think I need to bring my goggles and a snorkel.
I'm going to bring a wetsuit. It's going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly quick. We got 15 rascals in a house. A bunch of them are lifestyle. We're all spending the weekend together. I have no idea what's going to happen.
And it's going to be colder than shit, so we'll all be trapped in this house.
Yeah, we're not fucking leaving. It's snowing all the way there, snowing all the way back to the airport.
Hopefully the heat works so we could all be naked.
Well, I just want you to be naked. I've been telling you all day that I'm going to jump that ass. So this is coming. But guys, this has been a really good time. We hope you've enjoyed it too. We're already past our hour, so I will let Mallory take us out here. But folks, I hope you enjoyed it. This has been a living history of Hedonism II. Mallory, what do you got?
All right. So guys, look us up. We're Casual Swinger everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SLS, STC, and Cassidy. Check out our website, casualswinger.com. And send us your feedback, your questions, and your love to podcast@casualswinger.com. And don't forget, if you're generous enough to leave us a review on iTunes, we'd greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, she loves your love. I've seen her do it. Guys, thanks a lot. You've been listening to Casual Swinger.